What is up, guys? It is Dave, it is Duncan, forgot there's only two of us, back for another review. And for this review, Duncan...
Izzy, Wizzy, let's get busy. What is all the finger thing? Like,
I don't know.
Are you conducting this review?
Maybe.
Not quite my time, Duncan.
Maybe. Duncan and I are here to talk about the new EP from Swedish hardcore quartet Godmother. The band's new EP, Obeveklig,
Nailed it.
will be released independently on May 6th. Godmother formed in 2012, and they want to start a band with a focus on intensity and aggression with influences from hardcore, grindcore, metal and sludge. This will be the band's first release in 5 years, but in that time they have toured the US with the likes of Cult Leader and the Number 12 Looks Like You. They have played numerous festivals around the world and wrote the songs that would become Obeveklig. Musically, on this EP, the band were influenced by bands that they toured with, states drummer Michael Dahlstrom. Seeing other great acts live always inspires you to get better. The experience of living in the COVID-19 era has been an influence on the band as well. You know, it's going to happen. Like most bands on Earth, Godmother was stopped in its tracks by the global events of early 2020. The ravenous energy heard on Obeveklig is the pandemic, and half of them... Sorry, missed a line there. The energy heard on Obeveklig is that of a band rearing to go after an unplanned hiatus.
It's the sound of the pandemic, which is accurate as well.
Sound of the pandemic.
Yep.
Furthermore, all four band members switched careers during the pandemic,
Oh, fuck.
and half of them became fathers.
Jesus.
The urgency of Obeveklig is the sound of a band with a heightened awareness of the fact that life is change, life is transformation, and all we have is the present day.
And I heightened him into shagging, apparently. Jesus Christ.
Go on yourself.
Oh, no, they're all at it.
Yeah.
Speaking as someone who fathered a child during the pandemic.
Nice.
Oh,
the EP was engineered by Stefan Barcadal at Soundtrade Studios in Stockholm and mixed and mastered by Cult of Lunar drummer Magnus Lindberg at Redmount Studios.
It is doing great things right
Yes, yeah. Cover art was created by Godmother vocalist Sebastian Campbell. So, I'd heard the previous release from Godmother, so I had like some kind of idea of how this was going to sound. Had you ever checked out Godmother prior to this?
No, this is my first dipping of the toe in the Godmother pond.
Excellent, nice. How did you go on? What did you think?
Oh, this is fucking awesome. No, like absolutely. I mean, this is like 9 minutes of the sounds of how I masturbate. It's like honestly the most intense, ferocious sound that has no give. And the thing about it was like when I shoved it on the first time, I had issues with it. Right, my initial issues were that I actually felt that the vocals weren't loud enough in the mix.
Right.
And then on the second listen, I fucking 180'd on that, like so hard. I actually think the vocals are perfectly placed in the mix because he's such a viscerally aggressive tone that I think if it was any louder in the mix, it would actually overshadow everything else about the band.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really difficult to sum up and articulate just how distilled the ferocity is on this release. And it takes no time in letting you know there are no airs or graces here. There's no little instrumental sections, there's no intros or outros, there's no interlude in the middle. It gets to business pretty much from second one, and then concludes its business toot sweet. I was actually I was kind of floored at first by like just how full on everything was, and like when you were saying hardcore there initially, I was like, it's more than that, and it's the grindcore influence on the song, probably the song length that actually does the credit to what they're doing here. Like you get a full-on onslaught, and they don't. It's not as if they're deliberately trying to just cut the lengths of songs here. They really just flesh out an idea till it's done.
Yep.
and then the next song. And I kind of love that about it. It kicks off in fine, hard fashion with Host Body, which is a track that it feels like it's the audio equivalent of chewing glass and smiling at someone. You know, just like equally satisfying and off-putting and horrifying and, you know, just like all grouped together. A track which has a bit of the chaos of like a Dillinger without the jazz. If you know what I mean. So it's not all like, you know, the jazzy stuff that they all do. It is it's condensed within like a relatively, I was going to say simplistic. It's not even simplistic, just a recognizable sort of chord structure. But it's the way it's delivered is with the intensity that these guys were playing, like almost spasmatic jazz, and it's not that at all. And then kind of reins it back the tempo on Teething, which is a fucking brutally wonderful track to listen to. And at first I kind of felt like, right, you've given me the insanity, you're now giving me the eccentricities. I'm loving this. It's heavy, it's hard, it makes you want to headbang someone. It's kind of amazing. And then track 3, which has a song title I can't pronounce, K-Trop, we'll call it, kicks in with all the speed of like a greyhound having its tail trapped in a shutting door. It is honest. It is so just once again full on and intense. Tunnel form kind of like brings it back to that kind of familiar, maybe more hardcore influenced kind of pacing. And then Disney Jail is what it is, fucking incredible title, incredible band. Delivers everything that I want on the way out. But we need to take the band are amazing, but we need to take a bit of time here and talk about not only how proficient they are on their instruments, the production on this is fucking insane, right? The drums, I imagine this is why you love it so much. The drums are like, it's like your face is in the kit. It's that fucking loud. And then they have, it's a wee shame that Kyle isn't here. The bass sound. The bass sound. Bass and drums are so loud in the mix. And the guitar actually sits comfortable. The guitar at no point feels like it's the instrument at the front. Like, if I saw these guys live and the guitars were at the back of the stage and everyone else is at the front, I'd be like, that makes sense, that's what I heard. But you can hear them. Everything is audible. It's clean for the chaotic elements that they deliver. You make out everything, even on the guitar work. It's not too messy at any point. It's very intricate. You can hear what they're doing without, once again, being flashy and wanky and all that shit. So, like, the production is just, it's cold, but it's an engaging cold. If that makes sense, as weirdly contrasting as that actually sounds. There's nothing warm about this release. It's very, very, very savage. But there's something about it that, and not just the length, there's something about it that just like ingratiates itself into you as a listener. And I've spun this a lot, mostly because of the length. But I think it's like, it's the perfect length. The songs are great. The positions of the songs are perfect. Like, they all flow really natural into each other, whilst delivering like completely different kind of levels of speed and intensity between the tracks, which once again is just really, really clever craft. And it finished and did the job of any great AP. When it finished, I wanted more. I genuinely wanted more from the group. I mean, even like we mentioned the album artwork. You were saying that the vocalist,
I think.
Vocalist come up with it. I love the artwork. The artwork is there's flurries of colour in there which you wouldn't expect. I love the fact that the T for mother is an upside down cross, which makes, like, when it first came through, I was like, oh, this is blackmail, isn't it? Interesting. Let's see how this, and within like 3 seconds, it's like, oh no, not blackmail. No, could not be wrong. Could not be more wrong. But it's just everything about it. It's a cool fucking release, man. It's just a really angry, ballsy, swaggery, full-on fucking release that, yeah, I'd like, and I know why you're smugly smiling, because Dave's coined this year the year of hardcore. And if all hardcore was more like this, I would be more of a hardcore fan. Let's just put it that way. I just think these guys have got, like, just bursting at the seams with aggression and swagger in a way which, I mean, 5 years away, to come back with an EP of 5 songs and not 10 minutes, you would almost feel like you were being shortchanged until you listened to it, and then you should be thankful you got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think this is fucking great.
Nice.
I wouldn't change a second of it.
Nice. Nice one. This is exactly what I hoped for from Godmother, to be honest. I really enjoyed.
So is this their sound? Like, they haven't like increased. This is what they sound like.
Yep.
Cool. Right, we are getting the rest of their album. Right.
Yeah, they remind me of like a slightly more like hardcore version of Pig Destroyer. Like, like you're not quite sure what's coming next, but you know it's gonna sound savage, whatever it is. And if you throw into that mix like a bit of Converge, as you said, a bit of Dillinger.
Definitely a bit of Dillinger, but it's not the like, see, I think some bands, when they want to sound Dillinger-esque, it's all front loaded in the guitars.
Yeah.
As opposed to the sound of chaos. You can play something very conventional, but make it sound chaotic and distill the Dillinger ethos.
Yep, for
It's
sure.
just Dillinger just happens to have, like, guitarists that are insanely virtuoso. You don't have to have that, though.
No. There's also, for me, I thought there was a little bit of Yautja in this as well. And I think, like, from those bands, you're starting to get a bit of an idea of, like, kind of what Godmother are all about. As you said, this is 9 minutes of pure unbridled rage. It sounds like a band that have been saving up all the riffs over the last 5 years. Like instead of a wank bank, they just have this big riff bank. You know what I mean? I kind of wish they'd use more of them. Like, if I wish this was longer. It is only 9 minutes, but you know, I'll take it anyway. Funnily enough, we're talking about Dillinger. This is a band that Dillinger had opening for them on their final shows.
Really?
Yeah. So
holy shit.
Ben Wyman, like, personally said, like, after touring for like 20 years, whatever, it was really rare for a band to impress him anymore until he heard Godmother. And I can totally see why. Like, as we said, these guys possess that intensity of Dillinger. They've got that tight musicianship and the kind of killer precision in songwriting. I could have easily listened to another 20-30 minutes of this, because although it's very intense, as you said, but I don't think it's like too overwhelming either. Like, it's the tracks do still have like peaks and valleys to them. I mentioned that Yautja vibe, and that comes up quite a few times on this. You know, there's times where they do just kind of slow things down. They inject a little bit more of a kind of sludgier kind of melody into the guitars. A little bit Kowloon Walled City at times for me as well, but a bit faster. But I think that balance of tempo and that little injection of melody really helps keep this EP from boiling over. But then when they do hit that like venomous streak and they really let rip, it's so fucking good. The riffs are just really Moorish. That there's a riff on that track Teething, which you mentioned, and it's just
good man.
It just had me at hello is what it had. Like, we've not mentioned much about the vocals, but vocally this is
scathing.
Yes. The words right in my mouth. The words right in my mouth.
Scorching. It's so abrasive.
Yeah.
It's so abrasive. I think that's the thing, like, and it's the tone is consistent. Like, the style that he does, it'd be very easy to destroy your vocals down, but that must be a natural tone that he can hit, that in the same way death metal vocalists can hit that, you know, the kind of the deep guttural sound, or like black metal vocalists can do that high pitched fucking shite. You know what I mean? There's a that must just be something he can slip into, because there's absolutely no way you could tour that like day in and day out and not damage your vocal cords, unless you're just naturally gifted with the sound of someone being skinned alive, which is what this guy sounds like.
Yeah.
So,
and as you said, he pretty much keeps it the same. Yeah. There's a little bit on teething where you hear I'm switching between a kind of high pitched and a bit of a more of a guttural, but that's pretty much the only track where he really kind of mixes that up. He's just, and it's weird though. He sounds very Scandinavian, which is weird. But I just like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, he sounds Scandinavian, 100%. But like, just it's basically like violence captured in audio format. Just
it
really,
fits the music. Like you were talking about, like the Dillinger thing. I don't know how much I would enjoy this if they injected Dillinger melody over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, I think its abrasiveness allows those guitars to open up a bit more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they do, I think weirdly it becomes, and that's what I was saying about the placement of the vocals in the mix. It's not generally where you replace vocals in the mix, which is at the forefront and everything would accompany it. It's almost utilised as another instrument just a little bit further back, and as a result of that, I think it has much more impact. I was like just very much more acutely aware of how fucking raw it sounded.
It's like the guitar work, fantastic. I can see why like Ben from Dillinger's impressed. The transitions from that kind of grindy hardcore into those little kind of melodic lead parts are really smooth. The drumming is obviously right up my street. It's absolutely insane. No fucking drum samples in sight, just raw as it's recorded, which is how hardcore should be. And same with the production, like it's quite raw. It's got that kind of real kind of piss and vinegar kind of sound to it, but it really captures the energy and the essence of this band perfectly. And when I was reading about the band, I wasn't surprised to hear that they've worked with Kurt Ballou in the past, because this is a band
right
that
up his alley.
fits all the criteria for Kurt Ballou collaboration.
But has that, like, there's a weight about it that, once again, like, kind of jumping in on details you've given away, not knowing them because they don't read the blurb that comes with the releases, but like there's a weight to this, which doesn't surprise me. That there's a bit of Cult of Luna mixing and mastering in the background, because there is, like, every instrument feels weighty in that kind of almost kind of post-metal slabs that you get, that just like everything feels like there's you're carrying the world on your shoulders. There's that aspect as well about it, which it's like a perfect storm all captured up in a bottle. It's like it shouldn't work as well as it does, but it really, really, really does. I
can't wait to hear what they do next. I hope it's not 5 years.
Well, they've now got 3 young kids, and
they need to get some more riffs in that riff bank. Because I need a new full length in my life, guys. Just if you're listening, please. Ratings. What did you think? What would you rate this new one?
It's a 5.
5. Woo.
Aye. Like I was thinking about this. Like, what's the one thing you could complain about this release? Not long enough.
Yeah.
It's an EP. Like I mean, like, it's an EP of chaotic hardcore. 9 minutes. Like, if they what. They put another song in there. The song's maybe not up to the same quality as the rest. It knocks it down. Like, if anything, as a musician, what you should want in any album you release, any gig you ever do, is having the listener want more of you. And this delivers that. Like, honestly, I've now got like 2 albums to go back and listen to, and I can't fucking wait. This is. I mean, there's nothing in this at all which I think is even a negative, like even remotely. So it has to get a 5. 5.
Well, you know me, I'm not the biggest lover of EPs.
No, that's not a reason to knock it down, Dave.
I'd rather they just went full length. But that being said, this is very good. I enjoyed it immensely. Some of it is over, quicker than a knife fight in a phone booth, but. You'll just be like, you listen to be like, what just actually happened there? And then there's other tracks and riffs that you'll be kind of replaying over and over in your head again afterwards. It's a 4.5 for me. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, the 5s go out to those those releases that really kind of get me right there. But like it's pretty much it's close to perfect for me as well. 4.5 for me. Check this out. It's only 9 minutes, so it's not going to take up a lot of your time to listen to it, to be honest. It drops on May 6th. Obeveklig, I think is the name. I'm not sure if that's the pronunciation,
I'm
but
fairly sure that's what we started off with, so we've been consistent. So if we're wrong at the start, we've been consistently wrong all the way through.
Check them out. I'll put some links below to their Facebook. If there's any pre-orders or band camps, I'll stick that in there as well, so you can check it out. Let us know what you think. Happy to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. That's the review. Thanks for checking it out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.